Hi everyone. We're going to be talking about one of our make and takes, and each of you are going to be getting this minty chippy window and shutters. And so your first step is going to be to use an X-Acto knife and cut out your pieces. So you'll end up with your window and your two shutters. You can definitely Okay, so you're each going to receive one of these chippies, these shutter chippies, the window and the shutters. And if you'll notice, once these are cut out, you'll have pieces like this. And in between these pieces is another piece of chippy that could be waste, but we're going to use it. So after you cut these out, you're going to utilize the four pieces, the outside, the two middles, and the other outside. So keep that in mind, and I'm going to show you what we're going to do with these. We want our shutters to be raised on the sides ever so slightly, so it pops up a little bit and gives it some dimension. And so we're going to add these into your shutters. Now, if we just left them as is, they are a little too wide, and by just using one, it's not, doesn't really lift it up enough. So what I did, and there's a couple ways you could do this, is I wanted it to be black on the outside and on the inside, just so it's not as noticeable. I just want it to not even show. So it's a little bit complicated, but I will show you how to make these extra little pieces to put behind your two shutters. So again, I'm going to show you how to make one. You're going to make 4 of these. Okay. So I would start by inking your piece. If you have any black ink can work. You're going to need some black ink. This is Black Soot Distress ink, but I literally tried this with 5 or 6 other kinds of inks and everything works fine. You're going to take this and cut it in half. So you'll need some strong scissors for this. They curl when you cut them, so just gently straighten them out. They can tear if you're too rough with them. Just kind of straighten them out a little bit. And then we're going to take the uninked sides and glue them together. And your hands get nice and dirty for this. I mean, if you have really thick black or really thin black foam tape, you can use that too. But for budget purposes, this is what we're doing. Okay, so you're going to end up with your 2 pieces like this. And we're going to glue these 2 pieces together so that's what shows on underneath your page, underneath your shutter. So you can do one at a time. I have not inked this yet, so I want to ink it before I officially glue these on. But you're going to glue them on, it's almost like sideways, so that the black shows. And then the part that's not inked is just really being glued together. Okay. So thanks for watching. One last thing, you'll have to cut a little I'd suggest cutting a little bit of length off, just a bit, so it doesn't poke out the top or the bottom. Okay, if you have any questions, feel free to come talk to Sherry, Sarah, or Amber, and we will help you with this step. So now I'm going to show you how to make this shaker that will go in your little journals. So this is mine. I haven't sewn it together. We want to do a lot of things to the book before we sew it. But here's a shaker that is, you can see through. Okay, so how you're going to want to do this, and a better way than how I did this. For this example, I used one of these pocket page card size, one of my scraps, and cut it down to fit on the page. I would recommend using a bigger piece of paper. So this time I cut down this mat to just have a small border along your page, and this will give you more space to work with when you die cut your stars. Just be mindful of what this is up next to in your book, and make sure you like the way it looks next to the page, and then know that this side is going to be just the stars shining through like this. Okay, so you're going to position this on, kind of hold it in place, and then lay your stars however you want them. You could do the big up top, do the big in the middle. You just want to make sure you're not doing it too close to the border, because you're going to have to tape it in. Okay, so as soon as you get these just the way you want them, you're going to run both sheets of paper and the stars through a die cut machine. Okay, so now I have my two pieces, and what's nice is you do have all of these stars cut that you can later use to decorate your book. Okay, so we provided a plastic envelope, and we're going to cut this down so that it fits to be hidden underneath your piece of paper. So if you have to cut two sides of it, just depending on your paper's size, that's going to be okay. We're just going to washi tape the edges together. Okay, so now you can see that this is right fitting behind my die cuts. So our next step is to fill this a little bit. If you put too much, you're not going to really see through it, and you don't want it to be too bulky. So it's probably good, just about that much. Once you're happy with that, then you can use either double-sided tape or washi tape, and we're going to seal up that edge. Okay, so now you have your little shaker, and it's nice and flat, so it'll be hidden behind your borders. Okay, so pay attention to the direction of of everything. So now we're gonna get this on the back of, we're gonna glue this down, okay? So the stronger the better. If you have some good, strong, double-sided tape, I recommend using it. You don't want any of the bits to show through. So thinner is better to fit along the edges. But you are going to want to really fill it in. So it doesn't come off later. Okay, so go ahead and peel all of this off. We're going to stick down our shaker. Just like so. And then you're going to want to do the same thing on this side. Put some more tape down all along the edges so that it can stick in your book. Of course, being careful not to show through over there. I have skinnier tape, but it's not as sticky. I like this one better. Stars, and just have to make sure to exactly line them up when you put it down. So there you go. There's your shaker. Nice and flat. And in your book, double-sided.
It's time to start making our pocket. And this is one of the pages in one of your inserts. So it goes through to both edges, and you can put little pullouts in each pocket. So start with a piece of paper 11 by 6, and we're going to score this at 8.5. Three and a half and 8.5. Then fold it so your stars show. Press down really good. Use a bone folder if you want. We're going to glue this first, and then we'll fold it to insert it in our book. Again, before gluing, if you want to ink the edges of this, it would be easiest to do that now before you glue it. You don't really want to glue that seamed part, but you do want to glue the edges. Ink the edges, excuse me. And then we're going to fold this in half, which is at 3 inches. So notice both of the opened ends are together now. And when you insert this in your book, you'll have 2 different sections with little pockets. On the very first book you put in your album, which shows through the clear front cover, I have a couple of rosettes on there, and this is how you would make it. We have a die cut that's available to you in the crop room. It cuts out a large and a small at once, and it is perforated so that you can accordion fold this paper. There's a straight edge and a scalloped edge. The scalloped edge is going to be the part that faces out on the largest part of the circle, and the straight edge is hidden in the middle of the rosette behind the circle cutouts. Now you'll accordion fold this on both the large and the small. You want them to be front facing with different patterns. So you'll notice my larger one has the blue and white plaid, and the smaller one has the floral. To help close the rosettes, it's helpful to have two other circles that you can glue on the back side. So this can be, you can punch holes in a scratch piece of paper. It doesn't have to be a perfect circle. It can be a square, just rip a piece of paper off the back of something, but we need something to adhere the back. I like to use sticky dots, glue dots. So if you can just have some kind of shape scrap piece of paper to add some glue dots to. You'll need this for both flowers, both rosettes, and kind of prep that. It's nice to have that pre-prepped before you try to put this together. And we're going to take our two ends of the rosette and glue them together. Again, notice that one side is scalloped and the other is flat. So when we put this together, we want this scalloped edges to face out. And be mindful of what side of the paper you want to face up for your large and small rosettes. So we'll let that dry a minute and repeat the steps with your smaller rosette. We'll set the small one aside and go ahead and finish off our large one while that one dries. So you can use scrunch in your flat side. It's kind of, you gotta do it opposite. So I want this to be the back. So I have my pre-prepped glue dot scrap to stick on the back. And the circles that punch out with the die cuts are cuter. They have a little zigzagged edge. So you can be mindful of which side you glue up. You want it to be opposite so it shows your little centerpiece. And again, repeat the steps with the smaller one. Don't forget to put the glue dot on your scrap. Flat sides in the center together. And there you go, your two rosettes for your album cover. Now I'm going to show you how to bind your 3 books to fit into your little album. Here I'm just showing you the stitching. So we're going to do this stitching that'll show on the inside and outside. And you're going to do this 3 times, one time for each book. We did provide plenty of string for you, and you want to cut that in thirds. This is the binding tool, and we're going to cut, or I should say poke holes at these numbers. So gather up your string. You want a thick needle for this, so it makes it easier to thread and to poke through. If the one provided in your kit is not big enough, because I kind of packed these kits before realizing the ones I gave you may have been too small, we do have some for sharing up at the front of the desk. You do not need to tie a knot at the end of your string. So go ahead and grab your book and take out any of the inserts just so we can line this up properly. You will have to put those back in before binding, but you may find it easier to line those up and poke those holes later so that they are centered properly. You're going to use the pokey tool to push down on those numbers. We do have clips for you up at the front to help you keep these pages together. So once I had poked this, I lined this up. Make sure you open it up first, center it, and then poke your holes again. You just want it to be centered top and bottom. And then once you have those holes poked, you'll want to put it back in position, whatever page of the album that you want it to be. And again, you're going to want to make sure that's all lined up properly as you start your stitching. Keep those flaps open so you don't accidentally sew them all together. Now go ahead and get your needle and thread. And I like to start in the middle, poking them through all the pages. Again, get everything lined up. Make sure all your pages are connected and in the order you want. It's real important that if you do want to ink the edges of these, that you do that before binding them together. So if you haven't already inked the edges, stop what you're doing and do that now. So you're going to go through, leave a good tail, a long tail, like 4 or 5 inches. And you can go either direction, up or down, but you're going to go in and out. Once you've done the top half, then you can work your way to the bottom. Again, in and out. so that every inch is covered on the front and the back. You're going to eventually find yourself back inside the book where you can tie it off with your tail that you left. So this is why it's important to have a good amount of string to tie. Don't cut yourself short. It just makes tying that knot really hard. You can get a friend to help with this part if you want. You want to get that real nice and tight. And then you can cut off the excess tails close down to the knot once you have it tight. See how much easier this would have been with a long tail? There we go. Just tie it probably 3 times at least and cut that off. So that'll be on the inside of your book. You can fold these flaps back in. And there's book number 1. You're going to repeat that on books 2 and 3.